You ever been to Harper's Ferry?
Huh?
You ever been to Harper's Ferry over in West Virginia?
No.
Where he got his start over there. Took over that arsenal at Harper's Ferry.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That was in West Virginia.
They just going to share it like they was walking. That's not just
Who can tell me what they know about this statue?
That's Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown?
That's Mr. Brown. I know that, but that's all I know. And he helped with the slaves. He helped direct the slaves in the Kansas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Who Brown? That's John Brown, isn't it?
John Brown.
And Brother Abbott, you was talking about Harper's Ferry.
Yeah.
Wasn't that where he met his Waterloo?
Well, that was a federal arsenal that he tried to take over. That's in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Well, where the states converge, where Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland converge.
And he played a part in the abolitionist movement, is that right?
That's correct.
The Underground Railroad.
He was one of the first who actually took up civil disobedience to slavery in terms of a white person.
And so now, wonder why they put that statue here. The Quindaro ruins are located pretty close to here. Is that right over the hill, right?
I suspect. I've never been in them.
Anybody, is there anyone over there on that wall that can tell me anything about the Quindaro ruins? Did you hear my question? Can you tell me anything about the Quindaro ruins? What do you know about them?
I don't know nothing.
You don't know nothing? Does anybody else know something?
Who know about the Quindaro Walk?
Who's been here? You have? What can you tell me? It was a long time ago. Okay, I'm going to tape you guys when we come back up and we'll see what we know.
But right here we have the John Brown Memorial, which is the first memorial to John Brown in the country. It was erected in 1911, but it took the community almost a decade to raise the money to have the construction of the memorial. It was commissioned by a foundry in southern Italy, the same foundry that did the stonework for Michelangelo. It was attempted to be done by some foundry out in New York or Connecticut, but they were hostile toward John Brown because, you know, he was considered much like a lunatic because of his activity with the freedom movement. Some of the students the other day after we did the tour, they were like, they really liked the Statue of Liberty. They had renamed it to the Statue of Liberty. How many of you here might know who John Brown was? Anybody? Anybody? An abolitionist? He worked on the right and left hand of a woman by the name of Harriet Tubman. Whereas, you know, Harriet Tubman was medically challenged. She had a lot of fainting spells, and a lot of work she had to just stay concentrated in the area where she was. But she dispatched agents, and there were other people that had the same vision that she did, and this was one of the white people that could not believe that it was acceptable to own other human beings. And he was sentenced to the gallows and hung for his activity with helping to free black people. And upon their entrance to ask him, did he have any last words or last wishes before they got ready to execute him, he asked him if he could just say words. And he said and wrote that if he had to do it all over again, he would have did the same activity with more deliberate speed and swifter. He actually went and helped to slaughter other whites that believed it was okay to continue to hold black people hostage. And here at Quindaro, as we exit the site, you'll be able to see a thing that looks like a brewery. Well, it was a brewery, but it was also called the John Brown War Planning Room, where he actually bought in rifles and traveled under pseudonyms. I'm not probably saying the name correctly, but he had different names for different parts of the country that he was in, because he was considered a high war criminal for his activity with the Underground Railroad. He didn't just want people to escape, but he wanted them to be equipped with the arms so that they could have their freedom. And while he was on his way to the gallows to be hung, there were a throng of people that showed up, and one black woman and her infant baby were standing up there, and he was supposedly a very tall man. He reached down and snuck him a kiss. And as he was getting ready to step up on the platform for his hanging, according to, I believe it was W.B. Du Bois, he was promised by the colored people there that our race of people would remember him forever. And the people here at former Freeman University, what later became Western University, commissioned this memorial to him, and it is not just a statue, it is actually a memorial to the legacy and the life of John Brown's sacrifice. And it's been asked that we take and get into vehicles and go and drive right here, because when we get through at the site, you'll want to be close to your car. And it'll just take us a few minutes to get in the car so that they're close to this rail right down here at the end of the street.
Jennifer,
Jennifer, what?
used to be spots all the way down.
I feel like I know you from somewhere. What's
look familiar.
What particular location? As you know, that used to be Douglas Hospital, but before then it was National Historic Landmark and the National Register of Historic Places. From that side of I-635, which is just that way, all the way to 35th or 36th Street, the same perimeter that they were going to use for the proposed landfill that we were able to successfully stop. We just took and reversed their own maps and charts on them. We have 206 acres that we're ideally working with, but originally the site was 780 acres that had residential plats for 5,333 people. This was indeed a whole town, a whole settlement. What's important about stopping right here is that you can get to see the Quindaro Bend in the Missouri River, and it's detailed and listed as such. On that side of the river would be what? Parkville, Missouri, which played a very pivotal role in the mid-1800s, because Missouri was already a declared state, and it was very much involved with the slave holding of owning black people. Kansas was not yet a state. It was the Kansas-Nebraska territory, and the New England Immigrant Aid Society linked up with the French-Canadian Wyandot Indian tribe and members of the Delaware tribe to establish a free port of entry for Kansas, and they had originally picked some place off of the Kansas River, but it was such a flat open ground area until they decided that they were making themselves open sitting targets. So they had to come back in and replat and chart it, and decided that they needed some rugged, rough terrain with a sloping bluff area, so that it would be difficult for the Border Ruffians and the Confederates to be able to capture and create the kind of chaos that would make people too afraid to escape into Quindaro. Kansas played a pivotal role, because when they were getting ready to have Kansas join the Union, when they hoisted the flag with that star, it was either going to be a pro-slavery or a pro-freedom state, which was going to tip the scales